Welcome back to FastFreddyRC, and today we're going to do an unboxing video of the new Tamiya Ford Bronco 2021 on the CC-02 chassis. Now you may ask, why is this sitting here? Well, I'll tell you. This is my original Jeep YJ on the CC-01 chassis. It is the second vehicle to come out on that CC-01. The first was the Pajero, I think it was. Anyways, in the time span that I've had this car, which has been almost 30 years, I've done a few modifications to it. I put on a full Yay Racing aluminum conversion kit, and if it's something you're interested in and curious about, you can find more details about it here. But you'll notice that it has the original 3-step forward and reverse speed controller. And you can see the receiver itself still says, well, the wire's in the way, still says BEC. So this is one of the original Beck systems. So this is old school, but it is so much fun. And of course I did another video on this where I locked the differentials too. Took the transmission all apart to do it, and I was actually quite surprised how clean everything was inside. Anyways, I thought I would bring this out because once this is built, I'm going to do a comparison video. We'll put them side by side. Let's see the differences just by, what they look like, but then let's get it out there on the trails and let's just see how they compare performance-wise. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, one of the other reasons I brought this for the channel, I know I've had a few people say, please, could you build a CC-02 for us? So ask and you shall receive. It's here. So a couple of things before we do the unboxing. I did a bit of research on this and I found it quite interesting because the CC-01 chassis came out in 1993, and I think we've all been waiting for a long time for a new modern version of a four-wheel drive crawler chassis, and that didn't come out till December of 2019. So the CC-02 is 2019. That is a 26-year spread. It took 26 years to come up with a new chassis, so it's kind of interesting. Now, the first vehicle to come out on this CC-02 was under part number 58675, which was the Mercedes-Benz G500. And then they came out with another one, but it came with a pre-painted body, which was bright gunmetal, under part number 47441. I believe there are still some out there if you can be lucky enough to find one. The next vehicle to come out was the 58692 Mercedes-Benz Unimog 406 series, and then 57465, same thing. I believe that was an expert build version, if I'm not mistaken. Then there was 58700, which is the Land Rover Defender, which came out March of 2022. You'll remember it was a brand new one on the CC-02, and it was blue, or at least the box art was blue. But you can see that once 2022 hit, we start seeing some newer models on this chassis. Then, of course, right after that, 58705, which is this one, which came out in July of 2022. Then the Land Rover was pre-painted, the blue one. You could actually get a pre-painted version, which again came out in July of 2022. And then this one was released in January of this year under part number 47483 with the pre-painted body that's this color. So that was January 2023. Now, I was very interested in this kit. But I knew that Tamiya was releasing a bunch of new products this year, so I thought I would wait, because if a new vehicle came out on the CC-02, maybe that would have been a better option. However, I was actually disappointed. Now, it's my personal opinion, but I was a little disappointed in what they did with the CC-02s this year. So there's a new one, which is yet to be determined in terms of when it's coming out, which is under part number 58688, which is the Toyota Land Cruiser 300. No offense, but to me that's a big family vehicle. It's not something you're going to go and take out on the trails. Like, I truly want something to feel a bit more realistic. You're just not taking that car off-road. So it looks good, but if I was to get it, it would definitely be a shelf queen. It just doesn't fit with being an off-road vehicle. Sorry, it just doesn't. Then under part number 58715, the Toyota Land Cruiser 40, which will come out in May of this year. It's great, but again, we've seen the Toyota Land Cruiser on so many models recently. It's just like, isn't it time for something different? And the other thing that just irks me a little bit is they keep putting these CC-02s with regular road tires. Here's my Jeep, okay? These tires are pretty much the same tires that are going to come out on that new Toyota 40 in May. And honestly, if you're going to be doing off-roading with your vehicle, you need a tire that's a little bit more beefy rather than a road tire. You want something that'll grip. And this one, it's the only vehicle released on the CC-02 that has these big block tires. And I think the tires themselves are fantastic. They look great. Now let's see how they're going to perform. I understand that there's a possibility that the tires are a little hard. Fair enough. If so, I may have to do something about that anyway. But in terms of a stock kit, if it's a vehicle meant for being off-road, I'd like some tires that seem to represent that, and that's what these do. These are road tires, and the new Toyota Land Cruiser coming out is going to be the same. So it's just a bit of a gripe that I have. I was hoping for something better on the CC-02 this year, and definitely tire-wise, these are the tires I would want on the kit if that's what's going to be supplied by the factory. These are the tires. I don't want these ones. So anyways, that's my gripe. But at the same time, love the stuff that's been coming out as a whole. But this one to me speaks volumes in terms of performance, but also it acting like a true crawler type vehicle. And I will build this with the lock differential so that I can actually do some of that. Anyways, why don't we get to the unboxing and let's take a look at everything that's inside, and let's take a look at those tires. Okay, well, I've taken the plastic off just to make it a little easier to get into this. So let's take off this part. Come on. It's a tight box. All right. Well, check this out. Look at the grille. So there's the Bronco grille in there, and of course your tire cover, and you can see the side mirrors. Some other pieces in there. Oh, and that looks like part of the roof rack, because I know you've got to build the roof rack a bit on this one. Very, very cool. And then in this one, well, you can see again, this is the roof rack that's going to be attached to the other part, and then looks like we've got probably some tie-down pieces on there, and this oh, that'll be the front deflector piece that you put Bronco on it or something. I remember seeing something about it. So that's more pieces for the top. Then we have our bag of goodies, which we'll take a look at in just a minute. But here is our Bronco body. That is awesome. And it's interesting because some of the kits now come with these wheel wells already pre-cut, and this isn't. No big deal. It's just nicer if the wheel wells are already pre-cut, but they're obviously not on this one. But I think this body looks pretty sharp, and when we add in all of the pieces that we're going to attach to it with the spare wheel and the roof and everything else, that is going to look pretty cool. And you know, one of the things that I didn't mention before is the one thing about Tamiya's version of this Bronco, it's two doors. And a lot of the vehicles, like, you know, the ones that Traxxas make, they do the four-door versions. Well, I'm a two-door kind of guy, so it's kind of nice to have this as a two-door. So very, very cool. So I'll put that aside. And then here, this is very cool. This is the light unit. So this kit comes with the front and rear lights. And I know it says that it's for only for export only. What's interesting is I went looking to find this light unit, and it's about $80 if you buy it separately. So for whatever reason they include it in the kit. I think it's awesome because we've got front and rear. That's very, very cool. So there's our lights. Here's some of our chrome pieces. So here's our tail lights, and of course the lights are going to fit inside those holes there, you can see. And then there's the front pieces for the front headlights. And I love the design. Like, this is very, very cool. So those LEDs are going to look real sharp in there. And then here are our wheels, which I'm just going to open this up. Let's take a quick look at one of them. That is very, very cool. So cool. If I can get that. That is very cool. Wow. And you know, with all the little nut pieces there, I'm probably going to paint them silver or something just to make them stand out just a little bit more. And same thing with all of the wheel nuts that are there. Just paint them and make them stand out. That's so cool. That's those. And then, I mean, here's our tires, right? Like, this is a big deal, I think. Let's take a look at one of these. Like, look at that. That is so cool. Like, these to me look more like crawler tires. Now I can tell that the rubber is quite a bit harder, and a lot of crawlers you want them to be a lot softer. But I think that's just too cool. Like, I love the look of these tires. That just feels much better to me. So that's awesome. And then we've got this bag here, which you can see has some of the gear pieces here, some of the arm pieces by the looks of it, some nuts. Looks like those ones are part of the drive arms, I think. Hard to tell. We'll know more in the build process for sure. Then here, this bag has where the motor and gear housing is going to be. So you can see those pieces. And again, I'm not going to really know more, but you can tell that's definitely where the other gear or motor sits. Probably the transmission, actually. So that's very, very cool. And then here we have our shock pieces. So this has oil-filled shocks all around. So those are going to be the pieces for that. We'll fill them up with some oil. And then again, looks like this is... these ones look more like they're part of the drive axles, actually. So that's interesting, the way that's designed. Well, I don't know. There's some other pieces in there I don't know. So we'll see. And then here we have our transmission pieces. So that's got to be built up. Very, very cool. And then by the looks of it, there's more under here. So I'll move that out of the way. And what do we got? We've got, oh, the rails. See, these will be the rails for the actual ladder frame chassis. And same thing on the other side. So there's that. And then look, there are our axles. So those are the front and rear axles for this. Then we've got, looks like the part of these will be for maybe steering ties, but I can tell these are also for the shocks and looks, yeah. Actually, most of this looks like it's the shock pieces. So we've got like the things that you put into the oil, and then these ones that you can adjust the tension of the springs. So that's for all four of the shocks. And then this one here looks like it's more pieces for the chassis, probably suspension parts. And then these ones here, you've got your body mount posts. But I think we're looking also at, where is it? No, maybe that's it. Maybe those are just the suspension mount pieces and the body mount posts. Yeah, I don't know what these are yet. We'll definitely find out in the build. And then let's take a look at our bag of goodies. So inside of here, we've got our bag D, which has the oil, and it's red oil, and some other parts, the springs, double-sided tape. Looks like there's a few plastic bearings in there too, and some screws and whatnot, so that's in there. And then this one, we've got our bag A, which has all of our gears. Looks like the pinion gear, and all of the different plastic gears in there too. And definitely some screws and other hardware. So there's your bag A. And then, what else we got here? Then we have bag C. And bag C, this is quite heavy, so it's a lot of the metal parts. So you can see there's a lot of the gear pieces for the differential. You've got some of the bearings, but you can see this bag has all of the gears for the front and rear. And then you can see there's some drive cups. Dog bone axles are in there as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of the metal pieces are in bag C. And then this one, we've got bag B, and there's some metal pieces there, which I think will be parts of the rail frame. So you've got the two frames, and then these pieces will hold the ladder frame throughout. And then of course we've got just the nuts and bolts and different little bits in there. So that's bag B. We've got servo saver pieces right here. And then this bag, LED stop. So these are going to be for parts of the lights in terms of how we're going to install them, because it says LED stopper right there. So they are for the lights. And of course we've got some screws, and it looks like there's some body mount pins, etc. And of course some more double-sided tape. And then of course we have our silver can 540 motor. Which is the one I'm going to use for the kit. I'm not going to upgrade the motor at this point, so we'll add that. And then if we go further into the kit, we've got our aerial there. We've got our manual, which I'll look at in a minute, but let's take a look. Here are all of the stickers, and a lot of this is the window tinting. But I'm going to get the body for this painted completely different. I am not doing it box art. In all honesty, I'm not interested in a very dull bluey gray body. I've decided I'm actually going to do this a really nice bright yellow. And the windows I'm going to get tinted, paint tinted, not stickers. So I don't know how much of the stickers on this I'm going to use. Most likely not much by the looks of it. Most of these are for the windows. So that's that. And then of course lastly, let's take a quick look at the manual here. It's obviously going to be all black and white, and I figured as much. We're going to be building the gearbox stuff first, adding all the gears. Yeah, putting the motor into the gearbox, and then attaching the battery case, the frame rail parts to add to the chassis, and keep going. Well, we'll take a closer look at this later when I'm ready to build, but you can see how this is all going to come together, and I just love the detail of Tamiya's instruction manual. So this is great. There's a lot of great stuff. This is going to be so much fun to build. Anyway, there we have it, the unboxing for the Tamiya Ford Bronco 2021. Please like, subscribe, and I will definitely keep you posted in terms of when I'm going to start building this. It shouldn't be too long. I still have a couple of kits in the process of being built, and we'll see you in another video.